Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to call the April 7th, 2014 City Council meeting to order. Roll call, please, Mrs. Clerk.
Alderman Moiseo.
Here.
Alderman Beedley. Here. Alderman Newsome.
Present.
Alderman Tempest.
Present.
Alderman May. Present. Alderman Velco.
Here.
Alderman Rivera.
Present.
Alderman Cunningham. Present. Alderman Conken.
Present. Invocation, Bishop Colburn.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you again for another city council meeting. We thank you for our mayor, for all of our aldermen. We thank you for our city. We thank you for all that you've done. Tonight, I extend our prayer to the family of our friend, Clerk Art Yancey, his children, and all of his loved ones. We thank you for his legacy in Waukegan. We bless you. We ask in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Under Mayor's comments, I would like to welcome and acknowledge that we have Maria LaCour is our new city clerk. There she is. Say hello to her. Great lady. Welcome to the group, Maria.
Thank you.
You're going to be an integral part of where the city heads in the next several years. Tonight, I'm going to waive my mayor's comments and let Marilyn Sergel here from Clockwise discuss what's happening downtown, some of the opportunities that the Clockwise presents to downtown. Marilyn, if you please step to the mic.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm here today to provide an update on Clockwise Theater's upcoming show and our 2014-2015 season selections and programming. This Friday, April 11th, we are opening our final production of our 2013-2014 season, the world premiere of A Fine Line by Rob Wynn Anderson, an exploration of family, gender identity, and making peace with oneself. A Fine Line is about an intersex installation artist who is on a final quest to reconnect one last time with this now grown foster son. Directed by Andrea J. Diamond, A Fine Line features Doug McDade of Gurney in the lead. A member of Clockwise's Artistic Advisory Board, Doug is the managing director of the acclaimed Shattered Globe Theater, is an award-winning stage and film actor, director, and acting coach throughout the region. This is Clockwise's first equity contract, the Stage Actors Union. A Fine Line opens Friday, April 11th and runs through May 4th with tickets costing $20. Sunday, April 27th will be the final play reading of this season's great new play reading series. For this reading, Clockwise will be partnering with the nationally recognized Ragdale of Lake Forest, featuring the play Chatting with the Tea Party by Ragdale alum Rich Orloff. Ragdale will be providing housing for Rich so he can participate in this mutual Clockwise and Ragdale presentation. We continue to grow at Clockwise, our upcoming 5th season, increasing our productions from 3 to 4 main stage shows, as well as continuing our monthly new play reading series and a new partnership I am very excited about. Earlier this year, I participated at a panel at Theater Wit in Chicago about the benefits and challenges of making theater outside of the city limits. There I met Jen Green, artistic director of Piven Theater Workshop, which is both a professional equity theater and a nationally acclaimed actors training center for children and adults. Some of their graduates include Jeremy Piven, Roseanne Arquette, Joan Cusack, John Cusack, Laura Flynn Boyle, Jeff Garland, Harry Lennox, Aidan Quinn, and Kate Walsh. I invited Jen up to Waukegan, and over some delicious barbecue, we crafted a partnership. I am very pleased to announce the beginning in fall 2014, Piven Theater Workshop will be bringing their theatrical education programming to Waukegan, where Clockwise Theater will be home to after-school classes provided by Piven. This pilot program will begin with 2 sessions offered Monday afternoons with plans to expand as need and demand requires. This partnership will serve current Piven students and their families who live in northern Illinois and Wisconsin by reducing their current commute to Piven's Evanston location, allow these same families to visit and experience all that Waukegan has to offer, and also provide Lake County and southern Wisconsin families easier access to this acclaimed training. Clockwise and Piven will work closely together to make scholarships available, a part of both organizations' missions to make top-notch theatrical experiences and education available to everyone. Fall 2014 will see the start of our 5th full subscription season, opening with Impenetrable by Chicago playwright Mia McCullough, directed by Judy Blue. Our first ever holiday show will be Captain Superlative by Jessica Puller of Highland Park, directed by Madeline Franklin, which is also Clockwise's first main stage production for young audiences. This will be followed by a production we are all very excited about, Mr. Benny. By Mark Humphrey, this is a 2-act, one-man show about the life and times of Jack Benny, starring Tim Newell. Mr. Benny dramatizes Jack Benny's family life, his roots in show business, his days in vaudeville, then radio, some movies, and finally television. This play has been performed to great acclaim on the East Coast, and we are very happy to be bringing Mr. Benny home to Waukegan. The final show of the season is the Midwestern premiere of A Constant State of Panic by Patrick Garbridge, directed by Richard Shavson. Aside from our main stage productions, Piven classes, and our monthly Great New Play reading series, Clockwise will also continue to provide affordable rental space to area groups and also complimentary rental space for local social service organizations. Thank you very much for your time, for your support, your belief in Clockwise, and I hope to see all of you at the theater.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Any questions?
Nope.
Thank you so much to everyone in Waukegan.
Before we go any further, of course, you know we lost a great guy in Art Yancey, and I'd like to give you some of my thoughts. He was a great friend of mine for many years, great policeman, just a great character. Art Yancey was certainly my friend. Art Yancey was a gentleman. Art Yancey was a caring and compassionate man, a man of class and character, and believe me, he will be missed. So Art, take care, buddy. Audience time, Ben Lovinger. Ben, step to the mic, please.
Hello, my name is Ben Lovinger. My family owns Lake County Sports Center, the indoor soccer complex at 351 Oakwood Avenue. I'm here today to discuss your decision on eliminating the late night liquor licenses, the 3 a.m. licenses, because of a couple bad locations. I'm going to read an email here I sent to Mayor Motley earlier today. It's just a short email. Okay. Don't want to take up much of your time, but I wanted to let you know that taking away the late night liquor licenses is not the right decision because of a couple bad locations. We were granted the late night liquor license in 1975 and kept it until 1998 when Mayor Durkin did away with club licenses, and then we got it back 3 years ago under Mayor Sabanjan. Over our time with the license, we have had no problems due to the late night license. My customers that take advantage of this license are not coming to Lake County Sports Center as a destination to get 1 more hour of drinking it. We do not allow that. The customers that this is affecting work second shift, mostly in the restaurant industry, and they request that their games start late, between 1 a.m. and 2:15 a.m. We keep our kitchen open so these players can come up and have some food and a beer after their indoor soccer game. They are not driving drunk across town to come to our establishment like other late-night bars. We have had no trouble and will not have any trouble because we run a family-friendly facility. I have told all the teams with the late-night games, and they are not happy about this decision. They have asked if there was anyone that they could speak to, and I gave them the mayor's office's number. I'm sure they will not call, but they definitely showed unhappiness with this decision, and all of them are hardworking, voting Waukegan residents. From a business standpoint, I ran some reports, and during the hours of 2 a.m. and 3 a.m., we sell on average of $500 a weekend in food and alcohol. Take our busiest 40 weeks, and this comes to close to $20,000 a year in losses, not counting our slower months. In 2013, Lake County Sports Center paid $15,000 in sales tax and licensing fees and over $80,000 in property taxes. Losing this revenue will set us back a good amount. We have not had the success with our gaming machines that a lot of other locations have had to make up these losses. By reinstating club licenses, you could then provide our customers with what they want. I hope you now have some insight on why this license is an important piece of our business, and please reconsider taking this away from one of Waukegan's largest and most popular businesses. Any questions?
No, I'll address it.
Okay.
Thank you, Ben.
Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Chris Blanks? Well, you're here under audience time. Under, is this about the agenda?
Well, I don't know, you have it split up two ways, so you got two agendas, which
Okay,
one
you're
is
on-
that?
This is on agenda. This is just the agenda items. If it's not on the agenda, it's later.
Okay, then I'll sign the other one.
Okay, yeah, I'll put you on here, Chris. Okay. Minutes, motion to approve the minutes of March 17, 2014, regular minutes, and special meeting minutes of March 31st, 2014. Motion by Alderman Valco, seconded by Alderman Cunningham. All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. No resolution proclamations, appointments, committee reports, none. Labor Relations Committee met today at 4:30. On the agenda was fixing the salaries and wages to be paid to management and non-management employees of the city of Waukegan, Illinois, effective May 1, 2014. Motion by Alderman Valco, second by Alderman Rivera. Discussion on the item, please.
Mayor, if I may, please.
Alderman Valco.
I have a motion to amend on section 8.1. It's under allowances and stipends, and it states currently for elected positions are found in the city municipal code book. The Labor Relations Committee would like to amend 8.1 allowances and stipends to read the proposed ordinance by adding additional stipends, liquor commissioner, $10,000 per year, parking administrator, $3,000 a year, and then also the also in 8.1, monthly expense allowances, the mayor, $1,500 a month, city clerk, $400 a month, city treasurer, $200 a month, alderman, $250 a month, committee chair, $75 a month, labor relations committee, $75 a month. Mayor, as you well know, and so we let the public know, these are no increases, these are no new salaries, these are no nothing. The alderman wanted something stipulated in the new draft that stated what these things were. So this is just something continuous, but the Labor Relations Committee wanted it in here now.
Okay. Is there any further discussion on this item?
Yeah, I do, Your Honor. But I thought Alderman Beeling had his hand up first. Alderman Beeling?
I'm sorry, Alderman Beedling?
The issue was wage compression, right?
The issue was wage compression and basing the salary. What we did is we had a step increase between the ranks, so there was an ability for an officer, once promoted, would get a 3% pay raise over the highest person in that pay grade. For instance, a lieutenant moves to a position of commander, he gets a 3% increase over the top paid lieutenant. A deputy chief gets a 3% automatic pay raise over a commander. The chief of police gets a 3% pay raise over the deputies. This is including the fire chief, deputy chiefs, police chiefs, fire chiefs, commanders, all non-union people of administration. What I wanted to do was have a good break between the ranks to encourage people to want to get promoted. Currently, a lieutenant gets promoted and he loses money, or she loses money, because commanders don't get overtime. The highest paid employee in the city of Waukegan is a Waukegan police sergeant. So that tells you that our structure had to be redone. We did it. You've seen it. Everyone's had it now for over a month. I think it addresses the concerns I had. And it is there presented to you to look at.
If the patrolmen get a raise and the sergeants get a raise, aren't we gonna be looking at the same thing a few years down the road again?
No.
With wage compression?
No, this addresses that. No matter how, well, no matter what the next rank gets, the commanders, deputy chiefs, and chiefs get a 3% raise accordingly in each rank. So they're always going to be 3% below, ahead of their lower rank.
Yeah, but we're out of money, is my point. I mean,
Why do they have to be?
we have no control over our destiny here. If contracts are guaranteed by
Union.
state legislature, and
And union.
it never ends. You know, our roads are crumbling. I mean, it's got to stop somewhere. I don't know what to say. I mean, it seems like, I mean, I appreciate all of our city employees, the union employees. I was a union member myself, but in the private sector, it's a lot different. When there's no market there, there's no pay raises. There's none of that. And this is kind of like a captured market here, where the state legislature dictates what we have to do in the end. Even through arbitration. We go to arbitration, someone appointed by the governor. It never ends up in the municipalities' advantage, not advantage, but I mean, our state's broke. There's just no money left. I mean, it seems like common sense has to prevail sooner or later. You know, people need to voluntarily hold the line. That's what I would suggest. And I don't, you know, beyond the goodness of their hearts, but it seems like we're going nowhere with this. It never ends.
I understand.
I'm done, thanks.
Alderman Cunningham?
Your Honor, and please forgive me if I have maybe looked over some things here, but I want to get to, and please let me know if I'm not on point here. I'm looking at these steps. The steps have gone from what I used to know these to be 8 steps or 9 steps. And I noticed they're at 16 steps now. And I guess I'm trying to find a better way to understand why do we go from a 6-step approach to a 16-step approach? And I'm going to give you my way of analyzing. When I first started with the city of Waukegan, not only as an employee but an alderman, you had 8 steps for a new employee. That employee then automatically goes to the 2nd step. And there is a rate increase each and every step. Correct. That is correct. So when the contracts are negotiated, then there is a increase of whatever the contract is, and whether the contract be 2%, 3%, 4%, whatever. You come back with not only the step, plus whatever the contract negotiation. So it only becomes just a 2% increase, it then ultimately ends up being a 4, maybe 4.5% increase. Now, with that being said, and looking at some things that I saw this week, doing some preliminary meetings with our budget, and it frightens me. 87%, right, Tina? 87% of our budget will consist of salaries and benefits. Now you're going up to 16 steps. We're going to be pushing that 90% of city operations. It's going to be at 90% at salaries and benefits. I really think, and I'm not prepared to really vote on this tonight. I'm going to respectfully ask for this to be held over their salary, because I think we need to really take a look at this. You cannot continue to operate, and I concur with Alderman Beedling, 87%, every dollar that comes in, 87% of that is going toward, I think, some of the finest men and women that help run this city. Don't take this as a slight to you, please. Do not. I am not against giving you raises. However, we have to be somewhat fiscal responsible as to how we're going to give those raises. In moderation, obviously with the skill set that we have, we want to do that, but I'm a little afraid right now. 87% of our budget is salaries and benefits. And if I'm not mistaken, looking at some of the data of last week, this is cutting down on those massive layoffs that the city went through. I'm scared. And I maybe need to sit down with Tina and kind of go so I can digest it right, so I can really comprehend this. And I respectfully ask that we hold off with this decision. I know we have some time.
Alderman,
Yes, sir.
with all due respect to you, I will be bringing to you this year a balanced budget for the first time in 12 years. These are budgeted and appropriated. Tina and I have worked on this for weeks upon weeks. We have gone through this at great detail. This has been part of the packet for the Labor Relations Committee for quite some time. This is not new to anyone. With these numbers, we will have a balanced budget. So the concern is unwarranted on the issue of not having the finances. We did budget it this way. But if you want to hold it over, that's fine.
Yes, sir, please.
Okay.
And I would be glad to sit down. I want to talk with you and with Tina, just so I can get a better understanding, sir. Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Okay, before we go any further, Bill, I'd like to vote on your motion. The motion that Alderman Valco presented addresses the stipends and for the aldermen and the elected officials. Does anyone have an issue with that?
So move.
Repeat the motion, please.
Okay, Bill, do you want to repeat the motion, please?
Yes, sir. It's under subsection section 8.1, under allowances and stipends, and it's to read the proposed ordinance by adding additional stipends, liquor commissioner, $10,000 per year, parking administrator, $3,000 per year, monthly expense allowances, mayor, $1,500 a month, city clerk, $400 a month, city treasurer, $200 a month, alderman, $250 a month, committee chairman, $75 a month, labor relations committee, $75 a month. And I so move.
Motion by Alderman Valco, second by Alderman Cunningham. This is voting, we're voting on the amendment as presented.
What's there's no difference. What are we doing?
It's a point of clarification in the ordinance as presented. It's a clarification. It wasn't clarified in the ordinance.
Mayor, if I may,
Go ahead.
in the draft that we were presented for the 14,
Okay.
it was left out.
Oh, okay.
It was left out, so we're putting it back in from the previous years. The Labor Relations Committee wanted it stipulated in there rather than left out.
I got
It was
it.
going to go into the employee handbook.
Okay, Ms. Clerk, on the motion as amended.
Alderman Moiseo,
I had to put it in there.
Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsome. Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman May. Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham. Alderman Conken.
Okay, the motion will be held over in accordance with the amendment. Okay, next item, Insurance Committee, Alderman Cunningham.
Motion of it. the insurance committee met at 6:30 regarding a police department claim number WC 20118275518. I recommend and also move that we authorize proper city officials to settle that claim number for amount not to exceed $173,945.
Motion by Alderman Cunningham, second by Alderman Beedling. Roll call, please, Mrs. Clerk.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsome. Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman May. Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham.
Aye.
Alderman Conken.
Aye.
Judiciary Committee, Alderman Rivera.
Thank you, Mayor. Judiciary Committee came to order at approximately 5:21 PM this evening. Item A, intergovernmental agreement between the County of Lake and the City of Waukegan regarding Lake County's court expansion project, approved intergovernmental agreement and associated variances. Mayor and Alderman, we do have a group of Lake County representatives, along with our Commissioner, Mary Cunningham, and also Audrey Nixon. The presentation is going to be, they did a presentation during the Judiciary Committee, but I've asked if they can do another presentation so all the rest of the aldermen can see it. Amy McEwen, if you can come on up and talk about this wonderful project that's going to be happening here in the city of Waukegan.
All right, so we kind of did introductions already. Gary Burton, County Administrator, is also here, as well as Lyle Stelter from the State Attorney's Office, and Matt Carinari is our owner's representative. We want to run through really pretty quickly, because we know you have a big agenda, but want to provide you with some background. The county did what's called a Phase 3 study to really look at what our courthouse needs are. We looked at both short-term and long-term and several variations about how we might be able to accomplish it. Essentially, the project as proposed is a 9-story building with 217,000 square feet. It's the remodeling of the Babcock's courts, which are the 3 courts that are closest to the jail. In addition, it modifies the jail intake, booking, and kitchen remodeling. We have done expansions in the jail over the years, but we have not expanded the court spaces. So that was something that needed to be looked at and improved. In addition, we wanted to add an underground tunnel for the transport of inmates between the courthouse and the jail. Some administrative items, a couple other things related to this project. Separately, for all county projects, we've been working on an economic opportunity plan that is really looking at maximizing the participation of local and minority firms in Lake County bidding. We've been looking at how we can reach out to those local businesses through associations and otherwise to make sure that our purchasing is aligned with the community and provides additional opportunities. So that's something we'll be working on separately for sustainability on this building. While the county does not do LEED certification on its building due to the cost, we always go through the point system to find out where the building would be if we were going to go LEED. The building as proposed is LEED Silver. We expect to begin construction potentially yet this summer. This just kind of shows you very briefly what the schedule is. It does take the project through 2017 approximately in different phases. We need to begin with the tunnel phase first, and Matt will expound on that when he talks about the project in more detail. This slide just simply kind of shares with you, if you look over here, and I don't know where the pointer is. To the left of the screen, you'll see the existing Babcock Center. That's where the entrance is there. Separately, you see the new courthouse in the center of the screen there. There'll be a major entrance, and we have a picture of that in just a minute. And then finally, you have our north entrance. Currently, where you see the cross Waukegan. We're happy to talk about those further if there's interest. This is the artist rendering of what the building is going to look like. Essentially, the front of the building that you see there where the curve is where the public spaces are. Our goal in putting the project together was really to provide the citizens that visit our courthouse with a vista of the city of Waukegan and the lake. We think that's a great opportunity. Further back, you'll see the next row of windows are really getting at the spaces in the courthouse rooms. It's going to have individual light or light from outdoors into each courtroom. And then finally, the back of the building there is where our staff will be in judges' chambers, jury deliberation rooms. I'm going to turn it over now for Matt to expound on the zoning variations.
The first zoning variation is a setback variation. As you can see by the zoning map here, we're surrounded by a B4 and B5 district, which has a 0 lot line requirement because we're the I-1 district. We have a 5-foot requirement. We requested from the city that we be treated like our downtown, that 0 lot line requirement to help enhance the downtown nature of our site. Parking is a similar way that downtown districts, B4 and B5 districts, try to push the parking out into the public lot. We're requesting a variance on parking as our only parking opportunity on this site is the parking below the building. We've also included in this package plat consolidations the county property between Washington Street and the ravine. This is where the Babcock Center is. Essentially, it's 6 parcels right now. We want to consolidate it into one single parcel with the addition of this courthouse. We talked about the intergovernmental agreement. I'm just going to run through a few components that are included in that agreement. In today's world, we know that we don't want to encourage public parking right adjacent to courthouse structures, so we came to the city and requested that we eliminate the on-street parking along Washington, on both sides of Washington, along County Street, the west side of County Street. As part of this project, we, as our contribution to that effort, the county will then develop into an expanded streetscape standards that will better improve the downtown community and follow the downtown plan. As building the tunnel across Washington Street, of course, is the city's right of way, so we came to the city and asked that we have easements, appropriate easements to build a tunnel across the street. We also asked that we would close down Washington Street for a period of time so we could construct that tunnel. A few of the things that the city has asked for, that the county has agreed to, in this further phase of construction, we would close down a little bit of County Street here for construction staging through the course of building the tower. As you can see, we anticipate the tower crane to be set up, and that action takes a little bit of space. The county has agreed at this point. One of the things that's very important to the city is the county agreed to reskin what we call reskin existing elevated walkway. That walkway is going to remain in place, but will become an entirely public walkway, so that gives us the ability to take down the exterior pieces of that and reskin it so it fits into the new tower, and also provides glass on both sides so we'll be able to see through it and get better vistas of the city. We also anticipate after all the work along Washington Street and County Street that the county should come back and repave Washington Street from Junior Avenue down to County Street and County Street all the way down to Water Street as part of the infrastructure construction project. So that was many of the elements that are listed here. Today also we agreed to participate in the downtown wayfinding strategy and development process. We also worked with the city on a process and permit fee schedule for the that. Entertain any questions?
Does anyone else have any questions? If not, go ahead, Mayor? Excuse me, May's going to make a comment.
No, Ms. May, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for your presentation. I appreciate the collaboration that's gone on with the city, especially the fenestration with the walkway. Appreciate that. I think the streetscape's going to add a lot to our downtown. I appreciate the whole negotiation process, and I just want to commend everyone who was involved in this. Thank you.
I'd like to do the same too and add Ann Lynn and the planning and zoning staff, and, you know, it's great to see how committed the county is here in the city of Waukegan, so we look forward to that. So this is going to be a beautiful building, no question about it. It's going to add a real nice architectural look to the city, no question about it.
And Alderman, I'd like to say it was a pleasure dealing with the county on this issue. There was some resistance prior to this administration, and I have to tell you, I think you know, as well as I know, we are moving forward by leaps and bounds. And I thank all of you for your cooperation with us. It was a give and take. You know, we hated that walkway. That was a take that we took. You know, we negotiated fees to get that done, but at the end of the day, it was the best thing for all of us, and thank you so much for your cooperation.
Your Honor, I think I'd like to commend the leadership of Waukegan commissioners and obviously Ms. Nixon, who's here, from, Mr. Durkin, who sits on there, who's an employee of ours, Ms. Nixon, who's here, and Diane Hewitt, and obviously my mom, Mrs. Cunningham, and she has an inside track to all my decisions. But it shows when you get that Waukegan connection going, what can happen and how smooth transactions can be. And I think that's the excitement I hear at everybody up here. And I want to commend the leadership that represents Waukegan, obviously part of that North Chicago, that is helping Waukegan bridge that gap between how we can work together and move our county and city further to better sites. Thank you. Thank you, folks. Roll call.
Alderman Tempest?
Thank you.
Do we have, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I'm commenting, if
Yes.
I may.
Comment.
I see the project is going to be $75 million worth of building. Am I correct with my figure there? If you got a regular building permit, what would that actually cost? A regular citizen spending $75 million to build a factory or something, what would the building fee be? Maybe Dave Merrick can help me.
I think it was 1.75, wasn't it, Dave? 1.75 million? Yeah.
That would be what anybody would pay? I know that's what they're paying. I'm asking.
No. We're paying 1.17.
1.1 is what they're paying.
1.175, I thought.
Yeah.
And what would it be without? 1.7. But they're going to spend $650,000 to improve the Broadwalk across? 1 million there?
That was part of the negotiations, that they would do that in
Well, I got
in place of
650
paying
somewhere.
that money.
That's the difference between what they're paying and what it would have had to take 650.
So 650,000, but they wouldn't. Okay. So they're getting how much of a discount they're getting?
About $600,000,
Okay.
and they're paying 1.1 million.
How many years do you think this is going to take? 5? Is that a 5-year plan? 4 to 5 years?
3 phases.
And you didn't include my parking meters that aren't being used, did you?
Well, actually, what we see is that the parking could be the same years, it's going to move down because we're actually moving our court functions more further south.
Okay.
So other parking meters will be filled up that are currently vacant.
I'll lose some around the courthouse, am I correct?
Yes.
I will lose some, will I not?
You will lose it around the courthouse, but, that's the reason we're doing the landscape. To incorporate the city
Well-
design plan and your ideas.
Well, I can remember history lesson for you. I can remember when we closed off Water Street, going through, so you could build your courthouse there. I can remember that. I remember when I was there. And to have Lake County Courthouse in Waukegan is a big plus for Waukegan. But I also remember fighting you guys on your permit fees. You had that one fellow, not you, you're a good guy. He didn't want to pay me anything, and I beat him in court, and we got our building fees. So I'm glad we got that, it's going to help us. But Mayor, I hope you use that money to pay off some of our debt. I hope. Huh? Well, I hope you can knock off some debt. But no, courthouse is a wonderful thing for Waukegan. I'm glad you're expanding here. You've been a good citizen, and we're likely good citizens with you. And thank you for your presentation. It was very well done. I gave you an A. I graded you.
Okay, motion by Alderman Rivera, second by Alderman Valco. Roll call, please, Mrs. Clerk.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsome.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman May.
Aye.
Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
I vote aye, but I believe we should have amended the motion because it has associated variances. Those things are coming up on the 21st.
Oh, okay.
You have the associated variances included.
That's to come out.
It will be passed without the variances.
Oh,
With-
was
without
that how
the
motion
variances,
was
yes.
read? Okay, very well.
So
Vote
that
aye.
will be, so it will read this, intergovernmental agreement between the County of Lake and the City of Waukegan regarding Lake County's court expansion project, approval, intergovernmental agreement, period.
Okay,
Okay?
aye. I vote aye.
Okay.
Alderman Cunningham.
Aye.
Alderman Conken.
Aye.
Passed. Next.
The next-
Okay, very good. Item B, adopt an ordinance approving zoning calendar number 2422, text amendment to section 4.15, regulations for telecommunication facilities regarding the location of antennae and cellular towers on government properties. This has to do with any city property, they get first choice. As far as any antenna, telecommunications antenna, we have first choice. If all of our properties are full, then the governmental issues will have their crack at some of these telecommunication antennas. I so move.
Motion by Alderman Rivera, second by Alderman Valco. Roll call, please, Mrs. Clerk.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsome.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman May. Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham.
Aye.
Alderman Conken.
Aye.
Item C, adopt an ordinance approving text amendment to Chapter 16, Planning of the Code of Ordinance of the City of Waukegan, and this is in regards to adding, going from 9 in the Planning Commission to 10, and there were some other language in there that needed to be cleaned up, so it was a matter of just adding another commissioner to the Planning and Zoning Commission. And also changing the name to, we had it as the Developmental Commission, now it's called the Planning and Zoning Commission. And I so move.
Motion by Alderman Rivera, second by Alderman Valco. Roll call, please, Mrs. Clerk.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsome.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman May. Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham.
Aye.
Alderman Conken.
Aye.
Item D. Now, before I read the motion, I know earlier in the Judiciary Committee, the vote was, I believe, 3-1, or 2-1, excuse me, in regards to removing the 4 o'clock license from 2 establishments, and those 2 establishments happen to be in my ward. And one of the establishments that we've been having issues, especially with the neighbors' capacity, some issues with their capacity, overflowing of parking, and trash, and all these items on the neighbors' parking lots. Then you have another area, which is the, Mr. Ben Lovinger spoke on it. You have the other area in Waukegan, which is the Lake County Sports Complex. These are totally 2 different situations, as far as I'm concerned. Now, I know it was told to me that, that they didn't mind, they didn't care too much, but I heard a different story about the Lake County Sports Complex. They're not having any issues there. Their situation is, like Ben was saying, people come in there late night, second shift, to play soccer. They start their games about 1 o'clock and play until about 3 o'clock, eat. So it's not a situation where this is where they're stopping, you know, from partying somewhere else and then coming there to finish up their night of drinking. It's a totally different situation. So I think it's sort of unfair to include, and I know these are the only two licenses, but either create a different license for a situation like that. You know, it's totally different. I believe it's not fair at all to really include their situation with another club that's having all these sorts of problems. And that's why that they've been.
May I speak?
Sure.
We have to be very cautious here. I do not want to end up in court in litigation over this. I promised when I took office that I would eliminate 4 o'clock liquor licenses. I'm committed to that. 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock liquor licenses are only two. We cannot tell one person, one bar, they can be open till 4 o'clock and not the other.
Again.
We either eliminate both licenses or we don't eliminate either one or two.
Can we create a new type of license for those situations that
I don't know.
involve sports?
It only impacts one, and when I talked to Mr. Jeff Lovinger, Ben's dad, we had this discussion. But we just have to be very cautious here because this is a very slippery slope. If we make a decision based on what you're saying, we're going to be in court. And we're going to end up in litigation for quite a long time.
But the other establishment has had plenty of warnings. They've had.
I understand that.
You know, their situation is totally different than the Lake County Sports Complex.
Your Honor?
Alderman Moiseo would like to say
Moiseo,
something
go ahead.
about that.
I too, I mean, the situation out there is totally different. But in my opinion, on any liquor license, in any tavern or liquor establishment, is if you can't run your business, you lose your license. We know there's plenty of good taverns in Waukegan that have been fine. There's never any trouble. Every once in a while, we have a few that pop up. They can't run their business right, and we yank their license. Do we keep the things the same, and then if you can't run your establishment the right way, you're out. I don't want a place either that has to empty the police station on Friday and Saturday night because they got people that can't behave because they can't run their business. I think that's maybe how we need to look at it is if we have a law, we have an ordinance. If you can't follow the law, you can't follow the ordinance, you lose your license. It's not about the license maybe per se. It's about the management of that license. I know 4 o'clock liquor licenses and 3 o'clock liquor licenses are probably in most people's mind, and I was before until Mr. Lovinger, this is before they spoke about it. I was against them in a way too because we all know as everybody's mother and football coach in the NFL, nothing good happens after midnight. And there's always trouble after midnight in liquor establishments, usually. Not some places, no. But his model was not something I thought about and is totally different. It's totally different. You know, I didn't know until this is even, I think, a year ago they came up and said, you know, this is for guys that come in. It's like the old times when we had factories on the lakefront and the guys got off third shift and went and had a beer at 6 o'clock in the morning. Because to them that was 5 o'clock. I mean, you know, so is there any way we can do that? Is that we keep it, we don't hurt people that are running it the right way, but if you can't run your business, good night, Irene. Your liquor license is gone.
Is Ann Lynn here? Just left. Well, I don't know the answer to that question. And believe me, I played soccer my whole life, and I played there, and I know the Lovingers very well. They run a very good clean business, family-orientated. This is not to punish any particular group. This is to establish the fact that all Waukegan liquor licenses expire at 2 a.m. That's all this is. If we can do something to address the concern that the Lovers have, we will do that. But my main goal here is to eliminate the licenses till 4 a.m., 3 and 4 a.m. And all liquor licenses are the same. And believe me, did I want to do this to the Lovinger? Absolutely not. But they're part and parcel of this ordinance. We can't discriminate between one liquor establishment or the other. That's what we're saying to you. Everything's at 2 o'clock, and it's up to the alderman as a whole to decide what you want to do.
Well, you know, when you say discriminate, you have one, it's just unfair to penalize one, like Alderman Moisey was saying, that knows how to run his business, that he's doing a good job at it, and he's therefore going to be penalized because the other establishment is not abiding by the rules.
I'd like to hold this over. Excuse me.
Okay.
We're a little hasty here. I'd like to hold this over.
Okay, let me explain something, folks. You can still play soccer and not drink alcohol, okay? I did it for years. Okay? The Lovingers are not going broke because of this. It may impact their business, but believe me, it's not gonna put them out of business. So if you want to hold it over, we'll hold it over.
One more comment before I think we always need to think of this. Sometimes you need to be a surgeon and not a butcher.
Got it?
Thank you.
Okay, held over by Alderman Moiseo.
Sure, doesn't matter.
Okay.
Here, but Beasley, either one.
Alderman Beedling? Okay, hold over by Alderman Beedling, okay. Go ahead.
All righty, thank you. Item E, adopt an ordinance approving zoning calendar 2421, petitioner Babek Faley and George Roman from 3026 Washington Street, conditional use permit, auto body / mechanical repair. This is in my ward, and it was held over last time, but they've addressed all the concerns of the planning and zoning and the building department, and also the fire department too as well. So I so move.
Motion by Alderman Rivera, second by Alderman Valco. Roll call, please, Mrs. Clerk.
Alderman Moiseo?
Aye.
Alderman Beedling? Alderman Newsome?
Aye.
Alderman Tempest?
Aye.
Alderman May? Aye. Alderman Valco?
Aye.
Alderman Rivera?
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham? Aye. Alderman Conken?
Aye.
Item F, adopt an ordinance amending section 2-41 entitled Administration B, and is hereby adding an additional standing lakefront beach committee. And I so move.
Motion by Alderman Rivera, second by Alderman Valco. Roll call, please, Mrs. Clerk.
Alderman Moiseo?
Aye.
Alderman Beedling? Alderman Newsome?
Aye.
Alderman Tempest?
Aye.
Alderman May? Aye. Alderman Valco?
Aye.
Alderman Rivera?
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham? Aye. Alderman Conken?
Aye.
Public Safety Committee, Alderman Conken, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Public Safety Committee met earlier tonight at 6:25. We had two items on the agenda, and item A, the Waukegan Police Department received a request to lift the current parking restriction in the 300 and 400 block of McKinley for no parking from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if approved, this change would delete the following portion from section 21-121, no parking at specific times, which would be to delete Monday, Wednesday, Fridays from 5 a.m. till 10 a.m. on McKinley Avenue between McAllister and MLK Junior Drive. So the Public Safety Committee recommends that the proper city officials be authorized to lift the current parking restrictions in the 300 and 400 block of McKinley for no parking 5 to 10 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I so move.
Motion by Alderman Conken, second by Alderman Beedling. Roll call, please, Mrs. Clerk.
Alderman Moiseo?
Aye.
Alderman Beedling? Alderman Newsome?
Aye.
Alderman Tempest?
Aye.
Alderman May? Aye. Alderman Valco?
Aye.
Alderman Rivera?
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham?
Aye.
Alderman Conken?
Aye. Item B, the Waukegan Police Department received a request to extend the no parking at any time restriction on Clark Street The current restriction is on the north and south side of Clark Street between Beasley and South Park Avenue. The police department recommends extending the no parking restriction on the south side of Clark Street all the way to Victory Street. If approved, the change would amend the following section 21-120, parking prohibited at all times on specific streets, amended to Clark Street south side from Beasley to Victory Street. So the Public Safety Committee recommends that the proper city officials be authorized to draft an ordinance to reflect extending the no parking restriction on the south side of Clark Street from Beasley to Victory. I so move.
Motion by Alderman Conken, second by Alderman Beedling. Roll call, please, Mrs. Clerk.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsome.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman May.
Aye.
Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham.
Aye.
Alderman Conken.
Aye. Your Honor, we have one item for information only, the firefighter application process for the city of Waukegan. So the Fire Department and the Civil Service Commission will be starting the testing and application process for the 2014 firefighter eligibility list. It is tentatively set for May of 2014, and because the fire department tests every 2 years, and the current eligibility list will expire on July 1st of 2014. So anybody out there, if you're interested in being a fireman, please remain in contact with City Hall so we can get that information to you when the testing starts, and please make the list. Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, real quick,
All right, Alderman Moiseo.
before I send to this public safety, I've talked to Alderman Conken about it. We probably need to sit down with the school district and get a strategy on crosswalks, because we got some principals doing their own darn thing, and these crazy parents all over town, doing this and that. And I understand their plight. They want to make things safe, but, they're just setting things up wherever they want to set things up and doing all kinds of this. The people at the high school have asked me to get a crosswalk set up, so I'm going to talk to Chief about that. But some of these other places, they got parents going everywhere, and people just taking it on their own hands. And I understand what they're doing, but that's not the way to go about business.
Well, the worst one is St. Anastasia.
Well, that might be too. They doing their own thing too.
Alderman Conken.
Your Honor, I've met with the Waukegan College people, Assistant Principal Campos over at Jefferson, and we have a big problem at Jefferson Junior High School, or Jefferson Middle School now. The issue is that, this was discussed, and a lot of the parents have admitted to being part of the problem, and they want to now be part of the solution. So I believe they are going to the school board to try to get the issue where they can have some place to drop off and pick up their kids more safely. And we have had, issues where all of a sudden I'm getting a notice in the mail that there's a crosswalk there, and there's no crosswalk there. It hasn't come through the city. And if you know the area, it's a crosswalk to nowhere. There's no place for a crosswalk in front of Jefferson, because there's nothing on the other side. The kids should be walking to the corners at either Dugdale or Belvedere and then crossing the street, because that would take them into the neighborhoods. Like I said, a bunch of parents are meeting. The Waukegan College is part of this initiative, and we're working to get something done more safely at the schools. Hopefully the school board, when they get involved, things will take place, and as Alderman Moiseo says, we can start addressing other schools on top of that.
Thank you, Alderman. Thank you. Okay, old business, motion by Alderman Valco, second by Alderman Newsom to adopt an ordinance amending the amount of the annual alarm permit fee charged pursuant to Section 15, offenses and miscellaneous provisions, Section 1520B, alarm system and false alarms, held over by Alderman Cunningham. Alderman Cunningham?
I'm fine, I know where I'm going.
Okay. This was from $50 to $25. What was the amount?
No, it's $10.
Okay, leave it, you're gonna leave it at 10?
No.
I thought we,
They first
Well,
presented us with
let's see,
50, we
I-
brought it down to 25.
Okay, what,
what is it?
from 10 to 25?
And this was for businesses and residential?
Yes.
Everybody, right?
Everybody.
Yes.
Okay,
I thought it was 15, but if you got 25, it's 25.
okay. What we recommended originally was from 10 to 50. You're now wanting to amend that from 10 to 25?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So please make a motion and
So moved.
we'll amend it. Okay, we're going to amend the motion. The motion was from 10 to 50. The new motion will be amended from $10 to $25. Motion by Alderman Cunningham.
Yep.
Second by Alderman Beedling. A roll call on the amendment.
Alderman Moiseo?
Um,
Alderman.
No.
Alderman Beedling?
No.
Alderman Newsome?
Aye.
Alderman Tempest?
Aye.
Alderman May?
Aye.
Alderman Valco?
Aye.
Alderman Rivera?
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham?
Aye.
Alderman Conken?
No.
Okay, it passes. Now, a vote on the motion as amended.
Can you read it?
Motion by Alderman Cunningham, second by Alderman Beedling. Motion as amended, from $10 to $25. Roll call, please, Mrs. Clerk.
Alderman Moiseo?
No.
Alderman Beedling?
No.
Alderman Newsome?
Aye.
Alderman Tempest?
Aye.
Alderman May?
Aye.
Alderman Valco?
Aye.
Alderman Rivera?
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham?
Aye.
Alderman Conken?
No.
Is there anything else under new business?
Old business, I'd like.
That's old
Under
business.
old business. It would be actually, we're actually in the new business, but old business, old business. Anything else under old business?
Motion to reconsider the video gaming license fees.
Second.
Did you vote in the prevailing side?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Motion by Alderman Beedling, seconded by Alderman Moiseo, and please make the amendment to reconsider. This would be a motion to reconsider?
Yes.
Okay. Motion to reconsider an amendment to the gaming license fees. Did you want to state what you want to move them to, or you just want to amend it? Okay. This is just a motion to bring it back on the floor. Motion by Beedling, second by Moiseo. Roll call, please, Mrs. Clerk.
Alderman Moiseo?
Aye.
Alderman Beedling? Alderman Newsome?
No.
Alderman Tempest?
Aye.
Alderman May?
Aye.
Alderman Valco? Alderman Rivera?
No.
Alderman Cunningham?
No.
Alderman Conken?
No.
Okay, passed. Okay, Alderman Beedling, state your motion, make the motion, it'll be reconsidered.
The fees,
The fees, yes?
motion to change the fees to $1,000 for the first machine and $300 for
Each additional machine.
additional machine.
The amended motion will be the fee for the first machine will be $1,000. For each additional machine, it will be $300. That is the motion?
Yes, sir.
Motion by Alderman Beedling, second by Alderman Moiseo. Roll call, please, Mrs. Clerk.
Your Honor, Your Honor, Your Honor.
Discuss it? Okay,
Yes.
go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Your Honor, after I voted on this, I said, this is too fast. It was 125 per machine.
150.
50, I'm sorry, thank you, Alderman May. It was 150, and then we would never go from 150 to 1,000 on any fee, never since I've been here. And I understand what we're trying to do, but I just think that was too much, too fast. Can some of these establishments, with what they're bringing in on this gaming machine, probably afford it? Yeah, some of them can't. And I think if we gradually, just like anything else, I think we need to gradually do things, not shock and awe. And I just think it was too fast, too quick, and that's why I wanted to do that. That's it.
And I understand. We discussed this
Right.
during our budget meeting.
Right,
I don't disagree. My position is with the Alderman. Further discussion, Alderman Conken?
Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to point out a couple of things. It's just, first of all, the $1,000 per machine is not out of line with any of the other communities in the area. That's number one. And I think that the communities or the establishments in Waukegan that got these machines should actually be happy that they got a nice break for the first year that these machines were out. I mean, we are, if they're upset about the 1,000, why aren't they happy about it only being 150 for the first year? A lot of these establishments are bringing in more than enough money to cover the cost of these machines. For those that aren't, there's no rule that says they have to have 5 machines. I realize that $5,000 per year for the machines is expensive, but the law says that they can have up to 5 machines. If they can't afford 5 machines, 3 might be the answer until they start making the money on these machines. And every owner I've talked to, after we passed this 2 weeks ago, I've been approached by a couple of the owners, and they said that they thought it was, and I agree that although this might be some sticker shock, because they thought they were going to pay $150, I told them that they could protest to the city of Waukegan and remove the machines from their premises to teach us a lesson that, you know, by raising the prices, they're not going to stand for it. Every one of them said, oh, no, wait a minute, no, I'll pay the $5,000. So they know they're making the money on these machines more than enough to cover the cost of this fee that we have, which again, I say is in line with every other community that has the gaming in their taverns. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Any other discussion? Any other? If not,
Yes, I guess I do. In regards to the machines.
yes.
Where they go, how they get their license. We got this, I know it saved a lot of businesses when the machines came, and I voted against them. I do play them occasionally. It's relaxing, to be honest with you. But, Your Honor, we got Dottie's now that came in, opened up on purpose for coffee and liquor just to put the machines in. I think the intention of this council, when they took the vote, was actually to help those establishments that were teetering. I know it helped Louis, Chester's was on the borderline with Testas. The bowling alley, he didn't know what he was going to do. He was behind on how much on his taxes. It saved him. I think that was the intent. But now we got, what's the name, Dottie's came in, open up, we give them a license. There ought to be some control on businesses that have been established in Waukegan, surviving, paid their taxes all these years. And is there a way to limit how many we can have in town? There's no way. The state, okay,
State
just
regulated.
clarify. I'm clarifying for everybody out there too, Your Honor. But there is no limit.
No. As long as they have a pour license, they can have a gaming machine, or 5.
As long as they have a liquor license.
Yes,
But
a liquor license.
you control the liquor license. How many liquor licenses we have?
Well,
The city does that by ordinance.
yeah, they do, and I suppose we could limit that, but
Well, that's a way to handle it, but that's a roundabout way, I'm thinking now. I'm doing Martin's job now.
Okay.
I just wanted to clarify that, but
I understand.
there is no limit, and I don't know if you become saturated. I went out to Vegas once, and every gas station has one. I don't know what the fees are. And I think it's a little high. I think it's a little shock. But the ones that got in first have made tremendous amount of cash reserves. And as more come on, I don't know if the $1,000 per machine is equitable, but I think it was a little bit sticker shock. But when's the new license start? May 1st?
yeah, no.
January
Oh, it starts in January?
January, Tina? January.
So it won't go in effect till January, am I correct? They got time to think about it then, don't they? Okay, well, you clarified my thought. I told people I didn't vote on it. I don't recall voting 1,000, but I guess I'm going to stay with it.
Your Honor, may I make one more comment?
Yes, you may.
I thought we
Alderman
were
Conken.
very low when we set out the initial,
So did I. Yeah.
or initial fees for these machines. I thought we were ridiculously low. And like I said, you know, again, I'll repeat myself, this $1,000 is not out of line with any of the communities in the area.
Well,
We were ridiculously low.
I have to tell you, when I had a meeting with our finance director, and her and I came to a number, I thought the $1,000 was reasonable. I thought it was something we could deal with, and I thought it would have the effect of driving some of these businesses who came into Waukegan strictly for gaming, and under the pretense of being a pouring establishment with a restaurant. But during our discussions regarding the budget last week, several of you aldermen approached me, and we had a very lengthy discussion about this, and I have to tell you, I don't disagree with you. I mean, our job is to regulate the city's finances and do the best job we can for our community. And that being said, the motion is to...
Your Honor, I'm sorry, can I just make
Go
one
ahead.
quick comment?
And I
Belabor
do
the
too.
point, but I'm a stickler for getting the story straight. And I did read through the Judiciary Committee meeting minutes from when we approved video gaming. And to be very frank with this council, our prior mayor wanted them to be at $1,000 or $1,500 each, and the committee brought it, we went at $150 because we had no idea what we were getting into. So just for the record, I want to make very clear that our prior mayor also wanted them to be priced very highly. And then on my second comment on, I was in that budget meeting, and I fully support the new amendment. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I think Alderman Moiseo said it best. Alderman Moiseo said that we moved rather quickly when we came out with this, and I see that we're moving rather quickly right now. I don't know, it's just saying, let's go 1,000 here, 3, is that the best course of action? I think we probably need to put this someplace, think about it, find out a schedule is going to be, fitting for everybody because these video games, they're going to be around a long time. I wasn't in those discussions when it came out. I heard it when you said last week that 1,000, this maybe 300. I thought you're going to talk about it a little bit. Now here we're making another decision. We're making a decision on complaints of these owners. And maybe they're warranted, maybe they're not. But I got complaints about another fee that folks don't like. And it's called this brush pickup or the grass clipping pickup. I get a lot of complaints about that. There's nobody up here saying to the residents who paid the money that maybe need to reconsider that. I don't hear none of that going on. And this video game is bringing in a lot more money than $2.25 or $150 per year. So I don't think we're ready to just point and say $1,000, $300. I'm looking for an application fee that could be $3,000, then $100 per machine. I'm looking for maybe $1,000, something, but not just to randomly throw a number out here because we don't know. And I agree with Alderman May. We did not know the kind of revenue this was going to bring in for them and for us and what other communities were doing. We delayed that. Now we're just going to make a knee-jerk decision again? Because once we make it now, it's going to be set. And honestly, I don't know all the money the folks are making, but they're making a nice little piece of penny. And God bless them. That's part of their business. But we do have an obligation to the citizens. My question would be, the money that we anticipated in the budget, how are we going to backfill that budget, Tina? How much money are we losing from those type of numbers? Because we're surely not going back to the residents. If anything, I want to bring up, let's dump this little $2.25 and $1.25 for the little grass clip. That ain't making us no money. It's not saving us anything. No one is speaking up for them. These folks still got a surplus cash flow in their pockets every month. So I don't know if this is the best time. Maybe you need to go back, Your Honor, and really take a look at it, and then come back with what I prefer. I think you should have a larger application fee or initial fee, and then go from there. But just to say 1,000 here, that doesn't make sense, in my opinion now.
Your Honor.
Alderman Moiseo.
Initially, help me with my math, there was 5 machines at 150 is 750, is that correct? And then we were going to jump it to 5,000? That's where with the new structure that Alderman Beeling mentioned, it would be 2,200 a year. So it's still going from 750 to 2,200. So I think that's a little bit more reason than 750 to 5,000. And I think that's, at least when I was in the budget meeting, that's what we talked about, a little bit of too much shock and awe.
Okay.
I'm not going to get it out. I can
And
talk to
you're-
Mr.
Your
Alderman
Honor.
Cunningham
Yeah.
about the garbage later, but I think we'll move on from this. Thank you.
Hold on. Alderman May.
And I also believe that the state limits, I think our only option is to charge a license fee per machine. I don't think we have
That's
an
all we can
option
get.
to do an
That's
application
all we
fee.
can
I don't
get.
think the state allows it.
No.
Okay.
No.
We ain't getting the 5%.
Okay, the motion has been made by Alderman Beedling, second by Alderman Moiseo, that the first machine will be $1,000, and every subsequent machine after that will be $300. Roll call, please, Mrs. Clerk.
Alderman Moiseo,
Aye.
Alderman Beedling, Alderman Newsome,
No.
Alderman Tempest,
No.
Alderman May. Aye. Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera,
No.
Alderman Cunningham.
No.
Alderman Conken.
No.
Passes, I'm sorry, it's defeated. It's
Defeated.
defeated.
So
The
it stays
fee-
at 1,000.
The fee will remain at $1,000.
Now, Your Honor, do you want to maybe put this issue back in judiciary, and let's come up, I'm sorry?
It's done.
All right, I'm only giving a suggestion.
I understand. It's done, sir. Okay, under new business, anything else under old business? Nothing else under old business? Okay, new business, item A, approval of payroll dated April 4th, 2014, in the amount of $1,405,700.34. Motion by Alderman Valco, seconded by Alderman Newsome. Roll call, please, Mrs. Clerk.
Alderman Moiseo,
Aye.
Alderman
Oh,
Beedling.
I'm sorry, excuse me,
Yeah, what was it?
excuse me.
have other-
I forgot, bonus checks, $60,859.01. Additional bonus checks, $5,546.53. And final check, $644.
Your Honor, could you explain bonus checks?
Bonus checks.
Tina, wasn't that a payout? I think it was a payout for something.
Oh, they got bonus.
Effective with this fiscal year, we now show anything under collective bargaining agreements, like uniform allowances, sick cash outs, holidays. We are now showing those separately on the agenda as bonus checks versus lumping it all in. And then a final check would be when an employee is terminated or deceased. That would be the final check. So we're showing it to be more transparent separately on the agenda instead of lumping it all into $1 amount.
So bonus is what?
This was holiday cash outs as well as uniform allowance, boot allowance. And that is in the payroll reports that are put in your mailboxes. It's broken down that way as well. Yeah. And the term bonus comes from our financial system. We're not saying it's bonus for performance. Kevin wanted me to point that out. So,
Okay.
but we do report all that details in the reports to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bonus is,
Nice haircut, too.
Okay, a motion by Alderman Valco, second by Alderman Newsome. Roll call, please, Mrs. Clerk.
Alderman Moiseo,
Aye.
Alderman Beedling, Alderman Newsome.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman May. Aye. Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham.
Aye.
Alderman Conken.
Aye.
Item B, approval of bills dated April 4th, 2014, in the amount of $1,601,337.08. Motion by Alderman Valco, second by Alderman Newsome. Roll call, please, Mrs. Clerk.
Alderman Newsome.
April 7th? Oh, April 7th, I'm sorry.
Alderman Newsome.
Aye.
I'm sorry, Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsome.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman May. Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham.
Aye.
Alderman Conken.
Aye.
Item C, approval of raffle sale application for Catholic Bishop of Chicago, MBT Parish. Motion by Alderman Newsome, second by Alderman Cunningham. Roll call, please, Mrs. Clerk. Motion? Motion approved. Motion by Alderman Newsome, second by Alderman Cunningham. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item D, approval of raffle sale application for Apostolic Assembly. Motion by Alderman Valco, second by Alderman May. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item E, approval of raffle sale application for Community Christian Church. Motion by Alderman Conken, second by Alderman Beedling. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item F, permission to bid 2014 CDBG sidewalk program. Motion by Alderman Rivera, second by Alderman Valco.
Could I ask a question?
Go ahead.
How much money is in that CBG fund?
I think about $150,000.
50.
150? Thank you.
That's just a motion to go out to bid.
Yes.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item G, grant permission for the Misericordia for the annual Jelly Belly Candy Days on April 25th, 26th, 2014. Motion by Alderman Moiseo, second by Alderman Cunningham. All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance and resolution, item A, resolution authorizing the acceptance of donated property by the city of Waukegan pursuant to the Neighborhood Stabilization Program, including 830 North Avenue, Waukegan, Illinois, 60085. Motion by Alderman Valco, seconded by Alderman Moiseo. Roll call, please. Mrs. Clerk.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Beedley. Alderman Newsome. Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman May.
Aye, but Mayor, I think you missed one on the previous page.
What was it?
We,
Oh, item-
It's okay?
Item H, it's on the back side. It was double.
Okay,
There were
my
two-
apologies.
There were two of them.
Aye.
There were two of them.
it's two of
Okay.
them.
Alderman Newsome.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman May.
Aye.
Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham. Alderman Conken.
Aye.
Item B, a resolution authorizing the sale of property by the city of Waukegan pursuant to the Neighborhood Stabilization Program, including 1123 North Lewis, Waukegan, Illinois, 60085. Motion by Alderman Tempest, second by Alderman Cunningham. Roll call, please, Mrs. Clerk.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Beedley. Alderman Newsome.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman May.
Aye.
Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham.
Aye.
Alderman Conken.
Aye.
I have questions on A.
Go ahead, Alderman
It
Tempest.
says authorize acceptance of donated property by the city of Waukegan to the neighborhood, that's 830 North Avenue. Who donated it?
Is Ezell here? Ezell?
that
Who
word?
donated the property? 830 North Avenue?
Wells Fargo.
What did he say?
Well, they said Wells Fargo
Oh,
Bank.
The bank?
The bank donated
Gave
the
it to the
property.
city.
To the city of Waukegan.
And then,
They gave us title to it.
That's a first.
and then we gave it to,
No, we're
we
gonna
haven't
sell
done
it.
anything, we're just accepting
We're
it.
gonna sell it.
We're gonna sell it,
We're
okay.
gonna rehab it and sell it.
Okay, it's
Okay.
my ward, and I wasn't aware of it.
Alderman's time, Mrs. Clerk.
Do we accept it yet?
Yeah, we did.
A motion?
Yeah. We already
No,
did.
11:23. We didn't do this. We didn't do
Yeah.
8:30 yet, no, we didn't.
Yeah, we did. We did 8:30. You voted on it?
Okay, I followed it up.
Okay.
Talk.
It's Alderman's time. Go ahead.
Alderman Moiseo.
Yeah, just a couple of things. I know there's been a lot of confusion about the garbage, new garbage contract and the garbage pickup. It's the same company, and the contract changed. If you remember, we went out for bid on this, and we had 5 companies bid on this contract. The one we went with was by far the best one. One of the things was, if we wanted to keep yard waste pickup, for us to do that, it would increase the contract $500,000 a year, if not a little bit more. And by the garbage company and our estimates, which of course are rudimentary, only about 40% at the high end of the residents were using the garbage pickup. So, the leaf pickup, or excuse me, the yard pickup. So that means 100% of the people were paying for 40% of the service. I don't have my cheat sheet for all the other things that are involved with that contract, but by not having that, we saved 500, and I think it was 36 for some odd reason that sticks in my mind. I can go back and look. That's how much we saved a year on that contract. Of course, anytime you change service with people, things get confusing. I've had a lot of people in my ward call. Obviously, everybody that's been calling is probably part of that 40% that used it. But Tom, that money goes directly to the garbage company. We don't get any of that. That's all their deal, the stickers and all.
Sales and subscription sales, yes, it goes directly to the garbage company.
That goes directly to the garbage company. We don't, that's not anything that the city of Waukegan gets. Also, Tom, if I'm correct, no other city has garbage pickup in their contract for 100% of their residents. All of them have a system similar to ours, correct?
Correct, as far as I know, yes.
Okay.
There may be one other in North Chicago, but other than that, there is nobody else.
Everybody else has a similar structure that we have. So I wanted to maybe get those points out for people. I don't have my cheat sheet with me that Tom gave me with all the particulars on it. I may bring it to the next council meeting and read that. But we debated that heavy and hard in committee about that. We debated. At the end of the day, we went with the savings. That's what we did. That's what we voted on. So I want to make sure that that's clear. We debated that hot and heavy in committee and hot and heavy up here, and at the end of the day, we went with the savings. I want people to understand that. That's it. Thank you.
Alderman Beedling?
Spring cleanup, I'd like to ask the good residents, not only the fourth ward, the entire community, would you please pick up the space in front of your home? That would be out to the middle of the street line in front of your house, the parkway. If you have an alley, clean up behind your house in the alley. Trim all the overgrowth so criminals can't hide in the alley. Take down your Christmas lights. Nothing looks shabbier than driving down the street in the summertime and seeing dangling Christmas lights. And I know I said it the last time, but I can't say it often. You know, let's show a little motivation here. As far as our some of our unions are concerned, I would like to ask if perhaps the Patrolmen's Benevolent Labor Committee would ask me to perhaps sit on their board so I could give them a little insight into what the tax-paying public faces here. I read an awful lot. I'm not an economist or anything, but I read financial blog sites, and I'm a little worried about the future. And I'd like to be able to give a citizen's perspective, not only the PBLC, but the sergeants, lieutenants union, and especially the firefighters union. Now that might sound like a conflict of interest, but I don't think it's any more of a conflict of interest than the unions go to the state legislature and lobby for work rules changes, like the International Association of Firefighters just did. Lobbied Rita Mayfield, our representative, to get a bill that would take away our ability to set staffing levels at our firehouses. Senator Link has a bill to add a new level of government, something to do with regional fire agreements. Our state is already big enough. Businesses and people are leaving our state because it's so expensive here. Workman's compensation is very expensive in Illinois, driving businesses out. Someday there's not going to be anybody left to pay the bills. I think we all must consider that. As I said, I was in the Carpenters Union for 35 years. Last 5, we didn't get raises. How can you? There's no work to be had. It's the market. And I think our municipal unions need to consider the fact that when the market's down, they need to follow suit as well. Their pension fund is only 45% funded. That's a disaster. I think any money that they should receive in the future should go into their pension fund rather than on the paycheck. Maybe we wouldn't have the wage compression, but there would still be some fairness there. I think they need to start bailing themselves out. The firefighters union is 50% funded, I believe.
55.
That's not good. Very unhealthy. Every raise you get, well, the new retirees, they retire at the higher rate. I don't see how you can give cost of living raises, increases, when your pension fund is that lowly funded. That's insanity. But I wish you would consider my offer. I would really like to be able to attend your meetings and be able to speak before your board. I realize you do private business, but I think we could have some open discussion, that might be helpful. I'd be very respectful, and I would really appreciate that. Thank you.
Alderman Newsom?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to thank, first of all, Tom Haggerty from Public Works, Dave Marion from the Building Department, and Lynn. We were out, and the mayor, Dave Motley, we were out bright and early this morning at 8 o'clock taking down a home at 1014 Pine Street that had been vacant for many years, burnt out. And I thank them for working diligently. It's been a long time coming, trying to get those blighted properties down. That was number 10 to come down today. I have a few more in the 5th Ward that are supposed to come down, and I know a lot of the residents that live in the vicinity of these blighted properties are very thankful to the city for taking them down. When I got home this morning, one of the ladies that live across the street from this property, she called to thank us for taking that down. She has been looking at it for years and really appreciated it coming down. So looking forward to a few more in the next coming weeks. I'll let those residents know that those properties will be coming down. Not to mention that some of the kids have been skipping school from Webster Middle School, and one of the properties that's due to come down in a few weeks. So I know that the teachers, guidance counselors that gave me the call to let me know that the kids were skipping school, I'll know that they will be happy that that house will be finally coming down. So that's all I have.
Alderman Tempest?
Yes, I guess I'll start with the garbage contract, because Waukegan was unique. We used to get our yard waste picked up, which people became accustomed to. We didn't want stuff dumped in the ravines and so forth. But then the new garbage contractor came out, and the leaf pickup was not included. I think Alderman Conca and I at that time were pretty concerned about that. What are we going to do? Why is it in there? I don't recall it coming through council to eliminate that from the contract. But when you eliminate services that our people used to, I believe the city should give services, and waste pickup was one way of keeping the town looking in a better manner. Right now, they're confused out there. Some say, I'm not paying it. You can rake the parkway. Well, we're supposed to maintain those. There's an element out there that doesn't know what to do yet. I know we had a phone message and everything, but still they don't know. And I'm just concerned that we went in that direction. I'd rather pay a little more and have my yard picked up, my neighbor's yard waste picked up. But I have an idea for some people. Some are getting the contract for $150, is it, for $125 for how many bags? 10 bags per week? Well, maybe you go together with your neighbor, you know? Well, you got to think. When you get poor, you learn how to think. And maybe it might help that way if you went with your neighbor and got a yearly contract. But I would rather have the city garbage collector picking them up, part of our city cost of maintaining our city. And then I've got a little problem up at Glen Flora. Glen Flora on the northeast corner and the northwest corner. The northwest corner looks like a used car lot, which isn't zoned for. It's supposed to be repairing cars. Cars parked everywhere. On the east side of the street, it looks like Maxwell Street. Have you ever been down the Maxwell Street? Maybe you aren't old enough, but junk sitting out there all the time like a yard sale. Every day. It doesn't really give the image Waukegan should have. And I hope that we can get that corrected. And then I would encourage, this time of year, mayor of the city never looks good this time of year. It's just spring, all the snow's melting, all the garbage is there. I see a lot of people now. I want to thank them for getting out, starting to rake their yards up and getting them looking again. But we need to look at our parkways, look at our front yard, and clean it up. And as I drive around, I do stop to pick up an aluminum can. I'm like Eureka. but I'm seeing more stuff thrown out on the street and more garbage just thrown out windows. And I'd ask the PD, the police department, start writing tickets. See somebody throw something out the window? We have a littering ordinance. Pick it up. And encourage people in neighborhoods to go out your front yard and pick up stuff. I personally swept my 1,400 block of Hickory, both sides of the street, with my broom. Well, street sweeper was a little late. They finally came, but I got it done first. I mean, there's things you can do to make the city look better, and we have to take pride in our city. Waukegan is a great town to live in. It really is. We have a diversified community, and it's a great place to grow up. When I was a kid, and we want to go upward again. Hit a little low spot there for a while, but we're on the way back up. And this evening on the courthouse expansion, what a plus that's going to be for Waukegan. That's a great plus for the city of Waukegan. And I was really impressed with their presentation this week. And I'm glad to get my little money out of them too, you know. I think you should have negotiated the parking we lost a little bit, Mayor, but you did a good job. Thank you.
Alderman May.
Thank you. I don't mean to belabor the discussion of garbage, but I'm going to.
Good.
As far as the garbage contract, let's be very, very clear. Leaf vacuuming in the fall will still take place. As part of the contract, we have negotiated that you will still get your leaves vacuumed curbside in the fall. 3 passes through each ward, correct, Tom? Correct. The difference is that this year, Advanced Disposal will be doing the vacuuming rather than the city of Waukegan. I know they had a lot of problem with our equipment. I think we're probably a year or 2 over what it should have been doing. So you will not pay extra. You will still have curbside leaf vacuuming in the fall. Okay, remember that. When you're trying to determine whether or not to get the subscription, 55 cans is your break even. So if you don't think you're going to put out 55 cans or 55 bags, go for the $2.25 per sticker per bag. 55 is your break-even point. If you get the subscription, they're going to send you a sticker that's going to go on the side of your large garbage receptacle, your large can with the garbage in it. You must leave that large garbage can on the curb until they come by and get your yard waste, because a little sticker on the side of your large garbage can lets the garbage man know that they're under subscription, okay? So even though they come earlier to pick up your big dumpster, your 95-gallon or whatever it is, I know people are home, they want to make the neighborhood look nice, you got to leave it out there till they come through and get your yard waste. I've been talking about this for weeks on my Facebook page, so if you don't follow me on Facebook, please do. That's it on the garbage contract. I agree with Alderman Beedling and Alderman Tempest. If we all took care of our own little piece of earth in this world, what a wonderful place Waukegan would be. So please do get out there and pick out your garbage. My last comment has to do with the demolition projects. I support the mayor and everyone involved on the demolition project. I know we get some feedback, negative feedback on this, but you have to understand, these properties are beyond repair. They have been out there for months, years. No one is buying them. No one's going to rehab them. The banks, tonight we took a donation from a bank on a house because the bank doesn't even want it, the bank that has the note on it. So please understand, we aren't just bulldozing properties for the heck of it. These are properties beyond repair. And at the same time, tonight, we also talked about selling properties through the Neighborhood Stabilization Program. We have a department here run by Ezell Robbins that buys these properties and rehabs the ones that are able to be rehabbed and puts them back on the market so they're back on the tax rolls and puts family back in affordable homes. So while we're tearing down homes, we also are rehabbing homes. Along with there's private companies do it, Habitat for Humanity. So there are 2 sides to every story. And with that, thank you very much.
Alderman Velko.
Thank you, ma'am. Most of you know that I'm very concerned on the state of health care for our retirees. After our vote on the council, I had several conversations with some of our retirees and other personnel in the healthcare field. One of the issues I found was that some of our retirees were quoted as much as $400 a month more than that they were previously paying. In speaking with others in the healthcare field, I found that some of their patients whose workplace has less than the required 50 employees and whose health care was cut from their benefits had to go out and get coverage under the Affordable Health Care Act. Some of these people are paying much more for their premiums, and in some cases, their deductible was raised from $1,000 to $5,000. Last month, all city employees received a letter from Blue Cross Blue Shield with their paycheck that said an anticipated increase in premiums may go to 3.5% to cover costs associated with the Affordable Health Care Act. The anticipated increase shared by the city and its employees may reach as high as $300,000 from January 1st to May 31st of this year alone. I'm a firm believer that all individuals need good quality health care insurance, but to put it on the backs of people who are actually working and to tax them for subsidies given to other individuals does not sit well with me. To me, the Affordable Health Care Act is not working, even though an estimated 7 million have signed up because not enough healthy people have signed up. So what's the answer? What's the solution? Personally, I don't know. But in talking with citizens, the idea of a national health care program funded by a national sales tax was tossed around. One of our citizens gave me a letter, and these are some of his thoughts. A national sales tax to provide health care to every American would make it possible to eliminate Medicare, Medicaid, government health care insurance, and private industries' employee and retirement coverage. This proposal would allow only one health care insurance plan for every American. This plan would not hinder the U.S. pharmaceutical industry, nor should it. We need the new medicines that research scientists are discovering to bring life-saving drugs and therapies to enhance and prolong the lives of everyone. By alleviating the burden of providing health care insurance, the savings would be tremendous for the government and the private sector. The cost would be less for every American with a national sales tax, especially compared to the benefits of the program. No one can afford not to have health care coverage, and there are too many Band-Aid coverages in existence. An important factor for the senior citizens would be they would no longer have to pay for supplemental insurance coverage. Such a program would not be another expansion of government. On the contrary, eliminating Medicare, Medicaid, and other government health care programs, as well as private industry, eliminates the need for insurance for employees and retirees, will most definitely shrink the size of government and lessen their financial burden. If we are a nation that we say we are, we must provide these services for our citizens. He also writes that we may be the only industrial nation on this planet to not have a true universal health care program. He finally says a table could be drawn up to see that large items, I'm sure such as houses or cars or whatever, would not take the full weight of the tax. Now, I'm just a small fish in a medium-sized pond, but if citizens feel that this may be a good idea, contact your U.S. Congressman or Senators Kirk and Durbin and express your views. Personally, a national sales tax on everyone's purchases instead of high health insurance premiums and large deductibles seem like a good alternative. That's all I have, Mayor.
Alderman Rivera.
Thank you. Tonight, we held over the 4 o'clock license. My question is, and I hope we can consider this, is as a liquor commissioner, my question to this, why wasn't the situation of the Sundance Saloon, having all these issues, why wasn't there a hearing? should have been a hearing specifically on that license, okay? And if addressing our corporation counsel's concern of a lawsuit, you know, I think the best way would have been having a hearing, and if he lost his 4 o'clock license through a hearing, I think we would have eliminated, you know, any type of lawsuit or anything like that. But again, you know, to me, that would have been the right way to go at it, instead of including, you know, a person who's you know, operating his business in a respectable way. I believe the proper way should have been for the liquor commissioner to have the hearing, and then if the results of the hearing was that you lost your license, so be it. But to punish another, you know, 4 o'clock business license that's doing a good job, I think we should have went the other way as far as having a hearing is concerned. You have every right to have that hearing as a liquor commissioner.
Alderman, it really had nothing to do with, the hearing. My
Well,
proposal
hold
only
on.
addressed the 2
How can it
o'clock.
not have anything to do with the hearing when they're having all these issues and problems?
But my
There should have
concern-
been a hearing.
My concern was not the hearing. My concern was to eliminate the 4 o'clock licenses. That's all this was about. He will, believe me, he is subject to a hearing, and that won't be an issue, but to be fair and equitable, we had to do this collectively for both businesses. We cannot discriminate between a good business that runs a good, solid.
But you
or
wouldn't
a
be
business.
discriminating if you had a hearing. If they're violating their liquor license.
We have cited them for violations. We have done that. We haven't brought them to a hearing yet. That's quite possible, but at this particular venture, Alderman, don't misconstrue what this is all about. This is all
I know
about
what
a
it's
2
all
o'clock
about.
license.
I'm just trying to make sure that it's fair for the person that's operating a respectable business in this community, has been there for a long, long time.
Understood.
So I would have taken that approach. You know, then nobody would have been, you know, scared of any lawsuits.
Alderman Cunningham?
And I too I'm not looking to belabor this garbage issue, but you know, Alderman Moiseo said earlier that only 40% of the residents in this community was utilizing that particular service. As I look at that 40% and what our demographics in Waukegan, not from a ethnic standpoint, but from a housing stock, I know in the first ward, which is now becoming, you know, in other wards, that our percentage of homeowners versus those of renters is vastly changing. And I agree with Alderman Beasley and Alderman May when it comes to taking care of your own piece of the land. The unfortunate part is, typically, it is normally that homeowner who reaches out and goes the extra mile and cuts that neighbor's grass and picks up those clippings. It has been homeowners who has been taking care of some of these vacant properties. That is taking that stake in you know, in your piece of the pie. The unfortunate for us, our housing stock as it is today, and I'm going to use the first ward as an example, we have a 70-30. A 70-30 meaning 70% of my ward, if not more, are renters. Now, I'm not knocking renters. However, there's a difference in how you look at your properties when you rent. It's just fact. It's not to down them or say they're bad tenants or bad people. Fact is, when you own that home and you paying those taxes, you're going to treat it a little bit different. That's fact. So, you know, with that being said, I must, and I trust, matter of fact, I know that our director and Public Works Committee, which I'm on, and others, took that in consideration. The fact is, there is going to be, I think, a small problem, an adjustment period, not how only our tenants, I shouldn't say tenants, not only the residents who's responsible for these garbage clippings, or I shouldn't say garbage clippings, what are they, brush or leaves or whatever have you? It's going to be an adjustment period. Unfortunately, that adjustment period sometimes is going to be put on the backs of the city to still someone provide that service. It is what it is. And I mean knowing Tom and his team, they're going to make the adjustment and the transition period smooth. But it is a tough pill to swallow, and that's just Waukegan. That's all best I can chalk it up. Second, I don't know if many of you know this, but I think, Mayor, this is where teamwork is going to have to come in. The unemployment office that currently is housed, if I'm not mistaken, in the Grays Lake campus, Plaza, University Center, which should have been in Waukegan, another jab, out at our old Lakehurst, now new Fountain Square. They are moving. They are relocating that service that the state has regionally, globally. They are relocating that, if I'm not mistaken, to Schaumburg. Schaumburg. Now, I don't know about you, but if you take a look at from who needs those services more, particularly in the northern part of the state of Illinois, the northeastern part of the state of Illinois, versus income per capita out in that area. We have our state legislators who are passing bills that is going to severely impact how we run and operate our business. But when a service needed such as this, and I don't hear these bills being stopped, I don't hear these facilities saying we're not going to use that one. I remember Geo Karras, and she's a Republican, but she was for Lake County. Ann Kiley Center was going to close. It was on the list to close. If you don't remember, I'm like Larry, and I'm going to give you a history lesson. Ann Kiley Center was set to close. The governor then, I don't forget his name, they was on the list, had put a date down. It was Geo Karras that stood up on the state capitol and said, you are not closing this facility. And she rallied all the mayors on the northern portion of this county. And next thing you know, Ann County said it's still open. Now, I trust what our state legislators are doing. I believe in them, and I know they have the best heart when the city of Waukegan, whatever they do. I just disagree with this bill that they have of mandating or telling us how to run my business. But here's a service, you're never going to get folks employed. You're never going to give them the training that they need. And with us being the biggest city, I'm going to repeat, the biggest city in Lake County, it's going to impact us more than anything. Now, Mayor, hopefully that our two now senior state legislators can come and give us a rational reason why you're going to move this facility and the impact it's going to have on the northern eastern part of the state of Illinois. I think we deserve that more than anything else, because now those calls are going to go to the front line people, meaning us front line legislators, Mayor, you, myself. How are we going to get there? They're going to be looking for us for answers. Well, I'm going to direct them to the place where they have to get the answers from. But I think if we partner together and do what the Geo Karras did back in the day, I really think they reconsider that. I truly believe that. But it will not happen unless Main Street, Alderman, Mayor, Commerce of Lake County, we have to hoop and holler about this issue because it's going to be a major issue. And the impact is going to be on us. If you don't believe me, you give it through the summertime. These are issues I think right now that we can rally together and get this thing stopped. Man, we can find many places within the city of Waukegan to bring. Matter of fact, I can remember when it was downtown Waukegan. And it was still packed. Then you move it out west. It's still packed. Now you're going to send it all the way there? It's not going to benefit, I think, the vast majority of the people it should be, and I'm speaking selfishly about the city of Waukegan. Those are my comments tonight. Thank you. And Tom, as always, you know I'm going to work with you, whatever this is. This demolition of houses, Tom, Dave, myself, Dave Motley was out there. There was a guy who was sitting there in the alley, and he spoke, his English was a little broken up, but I tell you what, I can understand what he was saying. He was saying, I'm happy this house is gone, and I'm glad that it won't be near my children anymore. I didn't need to be an interpreter to understand what he felt right then and there and what was leaving that community. This is how we restore our house. And if we don't do the business of protecting our house, nobody else will. Thank you.
Alderman Conken.
Thank you. Being the last one, not to belabor the issue of yard waste, I'm hoping that the 40% of the people of the city of Waukegan that did utilize the yard waste over the years will continue to do so and to keep their yards clean and up to presentable, keep their yards presentable. Alderman Tempest was correct. I was one that, along with him, we questioned this. We wondered whether it was going to be worth the money we're going to save, and I still have some concern, and I'm hoping that we won't see dumping along our streets for people that, especially out in the fields, like along Willow Road in my ward, and in some of the alleys for people trying to get rid of these things. I hope that people are going to be conscientious and actually take care of their yard waste. I'd also like to mention I have seen a couple people in the second ward walking up and down their streets, taking a little pride in their neighborhoods and working to make Waukegan a cleaner place. So I've seen that in the second ward, and I'm happy to see it, and I hope everybody follows their leads. One of the things I'd like to comment on, I belong to a fraternal organization here in Waukegan, and our person of the year this year was a Mr. Mark Clem. Mr. Clem is a retired carpenter. And as a man who was used to getting up early in the morning and going to work, he got a little bored once he retired. So he decided to start driving buses. And his bus route was all the special needs kids at the Waukegan High School. Now last year he initiated and had the inaugural special needs prom. I'd like to say that on last Saturday night I went to Bonnybrook, where the Park District donated their space, and they had the second special needs prom. It was a wonderful event. I know that the mayor was in on it. He had them escorted by a squad car and a fire truck, which made the kids excited beyond belief. Mr. Clem's daughter, along with some of her friends and other ladies, donated their old prom dresses, so all of the girls that showed up had their own prom dress to choose from. The young men had gotten donated suits if they didn't have one that fit them. I think a good time was had by all. They asked the parents to get out of the way and let the kids have some fun. And I think it was a wonderful event, and I think Mr. Clem deserves some credit. So I just wanted to make sure he got mentioned and let you know that the special needs prom went off very well. So that's the end of my comments. Thank you.
Audience time, Mrs. Clerk.
Jane Ferry.
I'm Jane Ferry, 531 Leith Avenue, and Executive Director of Waukegan Main Street. I want to thank Alderman Beedling for coming down to Genesee Street and helping us clean up. We had a couple of people volunteer with Main Street, and Juan Garcia, who is my assistant, also went out to clean up. But it was nice to see the alderman out there, so thanks again, Alderman, for coming out and cleaning up Main Street. In that effort, in that vein, there are two other chances to help clean up. The Madeline Fuqua Memorial Garden cleanup is Friday and Saturday of this week. Friday starts at 8:30. Anytime you want to drop in, you're welcome to drop in. They should be done about 4 on Friday, and Saturday they're starting at 9 o'clock. Again, anytime you want to drop in. The South Genesee Merchants Block is also doing a cleanup of their area and the ravine. That starts at 9:30, and everybody's meeting at Greentown Tavern. Garbage bags will be available, but please bring your own gloves. So we're keeping downtown as beautiful as we can. I want all of you to make a note that on Saturday, April 19th, we're having a grand opening. Yes, another grand opening of a pop-up gallery. So please make a note of it and show up at 405 Washington Street, which is the Karcher. And finally, Lunch with the Mayor is coming up. Lunch with the Mayor is May 12th. It's a Monday. It's going to be at Glen Flora Country Club. And the mayor has changed how things are going to go a little bit. Instead of doing a speech, he would like to be interviewed. So if you have questions you'd like to submit to the mayor, please send them to jane@waukeganmainstreet.org. All of you should have gotten an invitation by now. You can also write them and send them in. Thank you very much. For anything other information, please see waukeganmainstreet.org. Thank you.
Tony Bandera.
Your Honor, distinguished members of the Waukegan City Council and citizens of Waukegan. My name is Tony Bandera. I am a resident of Westminster, Colorado, and I know it may be a little unusual for an out-of-town resident, an out-of-town person to attend one of these meetings and speak, but I think after you hear what I have to say, you'll find it very interesting from an outsider's point of view. I have come into town for several reasons. One is, the primary reason is helping with health care for a family member that became ill, and I'm helping with the post-surgery recovery for her. Second reason is I'm interested in being an Illinois resident for many, many years. I'm interested in coming back to the area, seeking employment, finding new residency. As an out-of-town guest, I had questions concerning the local ordinances concerning non-resident parking. While seeking answers via phone and even with officers in person, I got several different responses from people. So I decided to go down to the administrative building downstairs and talk to somebody face-to-face on this, because I was getting conflicting answers from different people. I'm sure that most of Waukegan employees perform their duties in a dignified and professional manner, but the individuals who are dealing with my questions at the front desk didn't fall into this group. And I think it's important to realize that these individuals are they're the face of Waukegan. They're the people that somebody like me from out of town is going to see firsthand, and they're going to make some, if they're not open-minded and think things through, they're going to make some conclusions that probably are not fair. Because I know Waukegan better than that. My sister's lived in this area for 30 years, so I do know the area. Some of the things that bothered me were there was a general feeling of being unwelcome when I walked in the door. I mean, just it eked a bit. I watched some other transactions occur, and many of the employees felt like it just seemed like they were not really interested. It went so far as the one who waited on me was really upset me because they continued to eat their breakfast or brunch or whatever it was at 10 o'clock while they were talking to me, which, I don't know, my mother taught me differently, but this is, I felt that was kind of rude, very rude, but I overlooked it because I was trying to rise above it and just try and get answers to my questions. Among the many statements made to me, which I couldn't find was very unusual, was, I'll put it this way, when I get the quote, is that the police do not know the laws, they just write the tickets. I found that very, very silly to say by a public employee, and I know it's not the truth, but that's what was said to me. These are but a small fraction of my total experience, which I found very troubling. Fairly or unfairly.
Sir?
Yes.
I'm sorry, we have a 3-minute limitation.
Okay.
If you'd like to talk to me after the meeting, please.
I would love to, Your Honor.
Stay here, we'll talk.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Julie Ahern.
Did you put my name on there?
Yes. You next.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Julie Ahern at 522 Belvedere Road. To introduce myself, I'm a Waukegan native and a teacher of several decades at Waukegan School. And I'd like to share this evening that thanks to a colleague's nomination, I'm very fortunate, one of 5 national semifinalists for the American Federation of Teacher Awards. And there were over 300 nominations, so I feel very glad to be that one of them is a Waukeganite. I heard a lot tonight about pride and putting the city forward. But the thing is, for the winning teacher, it is a voting contest. There's been 2 weeks so far. There's 2 more weeks to go. And it's a daily voting thing. There's no limit, age limit, or IP address limit. And I found out this morning that my entry moved from 1st to 3rd. So I'm reaching out to the community to ask if there's any way, if you know of an organization or group that would adopt my cause, I would be so grateful. Because I also feel very passionate about this community. And to have that national platform, the convention is this July in LA. To talk about my community would mean a lot, about our people, our students, our teachers. I would really share it. So this sheet that I handed out shares with you basically, just Google AFT, Everyday Heroes. And once you get that up, I've got it bookmarked on my computer, on my phone, and after that, it's literally just a 2-second vote. So please, if anyone can help me spread the word, it ends April 20th. Alderman Mozio, if I could email you tomorrow and get some student leaders that might help, I'd love to.
You can take 5 minutes in class. No trouble.
Okay. I'm willing to do anything. I want to represent Waukegan.
You know how to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chris Blanks?
Brother Blanks, 409 Oak Street, Waukegan. I really would thought that a man who had contributed as much as he did to the city, and this is the first regular council meeting since the passing of Artist Yancey, that I would have heard, or we would have heard, something to the respect of what some of the aldermen said, how you felt about this man. This is the first regular meeting, and we haven't heard one word, and I really thought we would hear something from you aldermen, and who have worked with this man. We have former police officers here who have worked with this guy, and we didn't hear anything. And, I heard them speaking, I heard you all speaking on the issue of the police promotions and things of that nature. And I can remember when it came to police promotions where many polices, and particularly African Americans, who was overlooked for promotion and raises and discriminated against in many cases, that has happened. Then I heard, we were speaking about stipends and things of that nature. Let's talk about stipend for a minute and friendship. I heard the mayor refer to Mr. Yancey as his friend. I would be quick to say that I know everybody defines friendship differently, but you don't step on and step over the head of your friend to have your way. You stepped on and stepped over his head to fire his assistant or his deputy clerk. That's not friendship.
Mr. Blanks.
First and foremost.
Mr. Blanks?
Yes.
You're outside the parameters.
We'll talk about
You're
stipend.
outside the parameters of conduct as dictated by the council.
Well, all right.
If you wish to, listen to me, please, sir. If you wish to constrain your remarks and address the council appropriately, please go forward. If not, as I've stated in the past, please have a seat.
Okay, well, let me talk about stipend since that was on the agenda. I do recall that when Mr. Yancey was put in his position as clerk and the mayor ascended to his position as mayor, Mr. Yancey was hindered and restricted from receiving a stipend which the mayor had benefited from and profited from in that position to the tune of a few $1,000s. But this is your friend. So I was just wondering why he couldn't receive that stipend that he was cut, that you created an ordinance that was between yourself and your corporate council, creating an ordinance that restricted Mr. Yancey from receiving that same parking stipend that you had benefited from. Now, in closing, I just really feel bad when I see
Okay,
citizens.
sir, your time is up, Mr. Blanks.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'll be back.
Motion adjourned by Alderman May, seconded by Alderman Cunningham. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Good night, ladies and gentlemen.